Once upon a time, in a cozy little town surrounded by apple orchards and towering maple trees, lived a hard-working farmer named Joe. His wife, Lily, was known for her infectious laughter and warm heart. Together, they had 5 wonderful children who were the center of their universe. There was Max, the eldest, always coming up with wild ideas. Then came Omar, the peacemaker, trying to keep everyone in line. Next was Leo, the adventurer, forever curious and exploring. Then there was Emma, the artist whose drawings brought the family joy. And the youngest, Luna, was as sweet and caring as could be. Their big farmhouse was filled with love, laughter, and, most importantly, delicious food. It was a peaceful afternoon in Maple Town. The sun was shining through the window, and the smell of cinnamon filled the house as Grandpa Joe made his famous apple tea. In the hallway, there stood a beautiful blue vase filled with fresh flowers. It was Grandma Lily's favorite vase, and she always reminded the kids no running near the vase. But today, something unusual happened. A loud crash came from the hallway. Everyone ran to see what it was. The vase was shattered on the floor, pieces of blue glass everywhere. Grandma gasped, "Oh dear, my vase." Emma put her hands on her cheeks. "Oh no, who did this?" Grandpa Joe scratched his head. Let's not jump to conclusions. Accidents happen. But we do need to know what happened. Max, Omar, Leo, Emma, and Luna stood in a line, all looking nervous. No one said a word. Grandma asked gently who was in the hallway just now. Omar looked at his shoes. Max looked at the ceiling. Leo's cheeks turned red. Grandpa Joe said kindly, "It's okay if someone made a mistake. What's not okay is hiding it." Suddenly, Emma whispered, "Maybe a ghost did it." Leo quickly added, "Yeah, a ghost from the attic." Max giggled. "Or maybe it was a very fast squirrel." Everyone started making silly guesses. "A dancing robot," said Luna. "A flying pizza," sighed Omar. They all laughed, but Grandma didn't smile. "Children, it's all right to be afraid of telling the truth. But lying doesn't solve anything." Leo took a deep breath. "Okay, I'll tell the truth. I was playing with my toy plane. I flew it down the hallway and it hit the vase. I didn't mean to. I was scared, so I stayed quiet." Grandma Lily walked over and knelt down beside Leo. "Thank you for telling the truth, sweetheart. That was very brave." Grandpa nodded. "It's better to break a vase than to break someone's trust." Leo looked up. "I'm really, really sorry, Grandma." She smiled and gave him a warm hug. "I know you didn't do it on purpose. Accidents happen. What matters is that you told the truth and said sorry." Max stepped forward. "We'll help clean up." Emma nodded. "And I'll draw you a new picture of the vase." Luna smiled. "And I'll make you paper flowers." Together, the children cleaned the mess with Grandpa's help. Then, they all worked on a surprise for Grandma. Emma's drawing of the vase was taped to the wall. Max made a silly poem about vases and planes. Omar folded a flower out of napkins. When they gave it all to Grandma, she laughed and said, "You all made me feel much better." That evening, as the stars came out, the whole family sat together on the porch, sipping tea and laughing about flying pizzas and dancing robots. Leo sat beside Grandma and said, "Next time, I'll just say the truth right away." She smiled. "That's what makes you a good boy." Now, let's check your understanding with a couple of questions. What was Grandma Lily's favorite thing? It was the beautiful blue vase full of fresh flowers in the hallway. Why didn't anyone want to tell the truth about what happened to the vase? Because they were afraid of getting into trouble. Who did break the vase? Leo accidentally broke the vase with his toy plane. How did Grandma feel when she saw the broken vase? She was sad because it was her favorite vase. What did the children do to apologize for breaking the vase? They helped to clean the mess and made her some pretty drawings, a poem, and paper flowers. The end. Now it's time to continue our journey with another adventure. One sunny day, the doorbell rang, and there stood a woman holding a big basket. "Hello," she said with a smile. "Can I help you?" asked Papa Bear. "I have a package for you," said the woman, handing Papa Bear a note. On the note was written, "Please take good care of these ducklings until their mama comes back. Love, Sarah." The woman left, and Papa looked at the 5 little ducklings in his hands. "Oh dear," he said, "what are we gonna do with 5 ducklings?" Mama Bear said, "Don't worry, Papa. We'll take care of them." But after a while, Mama Bear started to get annoyed. "Quack, quack, quack," they kept saying. "Be quiet," Mama Bear said. "I can't take a nap with all that noise." The ducklings just kept quacking louder. "Oh, go away," Mama Bear cried. So she went outside to get some air. Meanwhile, Baby Bear couldn't resist the fluffy ducklings. He started playing with them, throwing them up and down. "Be careful," said Papa Bear. "They might get hurt." Just then, Mama Bear came back inside. "Look," she said to Baby Bear, "you're making the ducklings dizzy." Baby Bear stopped playing and felt sad. All the ducklings huddled close to each other, and he missed the chance to play. "Don't worry, Baby Bear," said Papa Bear. "We'll figure something out." Later that day, Papa Bear built a nice nest for the ducklings out of blankets and pillows. "This should keep them happy for a while," he said. But after a few minutes, he heard the ducklings crying again. "What now?" he asked. Mama Bear had an idea. "Let's take them to the river," she said. "They might be happier there." At the river, the ducklings splashed around in the water and followed each other in a line. Baby Bear was so happy to see them enjoying themselves. Then suddenly, one of the ducklings wandered away from the group and started to float farther and farther down the river. "Oh no," cried Baby Bear. "We have to save him." Without hesitation, Baby Bear jumped into the river. The other ducklings quacked loudly, but Baby Bear couldn't hear them over the sound of the rushing water. He paddled hard, trying to reach the lost duckling. Finally, he was able to grab onto its tiny body and bring it back to shore. All the other ducklings ran over to see if their friend was okay. Baby Bear was tired, but he felt great knowing that he had helped. From that day on, Mama and Papa Bear realized that having the ducklings around wasn't so bad after all. In fact, they were a lot of fun. As for Baby Bear, well, he learned that even though taking care of others can be challenging, it can also be very rewarding. Now it's time for some fun. Let's check your understanding with a couple of questions. What did the woman ask the bears to do? She asked them to take care of the 5 ducklings until their mama came back. Where did the bears take the ducklings when they couldn't take care of them anymore? They took them to the river. What did Baby Bear do when one of the ducklings floated away? He jumped into the river and saved the duckling. Now it's time to continue our exciting journey. But before we go, let's make sure you're still with us. Can you tell us what happened in the last story? Of course you can. That's because you've been paying attention. Well done. Keep it up. Now let's see how well you listened to our story about the bears and the ducklings. What did Mama Bear do when the ducklings wouldn't stop quacking? She went outside to get some air. Did Baby Bear like playing with the ducklings? Yes, he did. What did Papa Bear make for the ducklings? He made a nice nest out of blankets and pillows. What did Mama Bear suggest they do with the ducklings? She suggested they take the ducklings to the river. If you got most of these answers right, then you're a true champion. Give yourself a big thumbs up. You're awesome. Keep being awesome.